every time I hear it, I think about that song from Shawn Mendes, right? Treat you better.
Right.
No,
Treat
it's
you
like,
right. Yeah. Treat you
yeah,
better.
I know I can treat you better.
Yeah.
I know I could treat you better than he can. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's such a fucking beta cuck move, man.
This is Industry Relations, a podcast at the intersection of real estate and technology from an insider's perspective. Sponsored by Cotality. Stay tuned to learn more with Rob Hahn and Greg Robertson.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Industry Relations with Rob and Greg. This is your host, the notorious ROB. And as always, my amazing co-host, the fabulous Greg Robertson.
Hola, Rob.
Hola. That's either like I'm on the deathbed voice or your sexy voice. I'm not entirely sure.
It could be both, right? I mean, many women have loved to die on my bed afterwards,
Oh, really? Oh, tell me, give us some names.
Die of pleasure.
Any unsolved murders out there, you might want to give Mr. Robertson a call. But
well, maybe
I'm assuming
we should tell our listeners we're recording a little bit earlier. We're on a Thursday. I've got I'm getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm going up to Seattle to visit some of my family. We're having a cousins reunion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. So we'll see what happens.
That will be fun. Yep.
Family's always got good times and maybe a little drama. I don't know.
So the one consequence of that, of course, is the Zillow brief dropped today, and I'm in the midst of reading it, and we're not quite ready to discuss that. Yeah. So unfortunately, that will have to wait.
But we've got other topics, right? We've always this industry just never disappoints, and it gives.
That is true, but let's not forget that we have had some weeks where there weren't any topics, so we decided to talk about movies or something. Yeah. Which our audience loved it.
Go right down to the bottom.
Loved it. Yeah, just loved it.
Oh, speaking of which, I saw Superman last night. Me and Cole and Toby. Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, the whole thing about this being woke is ridiculous. I mean, I saw the movie. There's no red pilling or blue pilling or anything in the damn thing. It's ridiculous.
But let us consider the context, the source of that view. There's nothing woke in there.
It's a story about an orphan, if anything. It's not an immigrant. It's a story about a foster child.
No, here's the thing. Unless the movie goes out of its way to be fucking woke, I don't care about the politics of it. I care about, is it a good story? Is it well told?
Oh, it was a great movie. Okay. Loved it. Yeah.
Because the reviews I've seen was not that.
No,
like,
we had
just as a movie, it just wasn't very good. Whereas
it was a good movie. I'd recommend.
You know what? Maybe I will check it out because the F1 movie was actually really well done.
It was really good. Yeah.
And again,
I recommended. I think to you and Steiny to go see Companion.
Yes, we did.
You liked that, right?
Yeah, that was really good.
That's because I'm tied into the Rob Hahn brain. I know what he loves.
Sex bots, baby.
Yeah. It's robot sex. I'm like Rob Hahn right away.
We could talk about one day because there's a housing connection to that.
Oh, jeez. Right? No, please not.
But we're not going to talk about movies today. We are actually going to address some real estate topics because there are a couple of things that I think are worth at least addressing and talking about because we don't like. I don't know what you think about them. I know you don't know what I think about them. Although I guess by now we could probably guess what each other thinks about them. So start us off with Greg. Start us off.
I read a little bit of your I guess let's give NAR a win. Fuck.
Oh, right? Dude. Crush it. Flawless victory.
Flawless victory. It's get in back of the chariot and make the victory lap and with all and throw the rose petals up above everybody. I mean, a pretty decisive victory for NAR against Homie. Why don't you set us up for it?
Sure. So the Homie v. NAR lawsuit was filed a couple years ago. When it first got filed, I thought this was like the next big thing, right? What it essentially was
shocking
was using the Sitzer lawsuit framework, right, which obviously was successful, to claim that Homie and other discounters were harmed by the commission rules, right? And there have been examples like Homie, right? So Trelora, Rex, Homie, the three that come to mind. There may have been others, who their essential claim is that the steering that, NAR and the brokers were found to have engaged in, which was the Sitzer, right, holding, harmed these novel discount brokerages who were not offering compensation in the MLS. Okay. I thought when they filed it, oh man, and they had some receipts. I was like, this is potentially really big. And then the motions got filed. I read through the motions. I'm like, okay, I think I get it, but let's just say I didn't see this coming at all. And I like to admit when I'm wrong, and I've done it in print. I was wrong
I've done
about
it several times. I mean,
exactly,
lots of times actually.
Exactly.
People would say
it would be nice if if leftists like you would admit when you were wrong once in a while. But I know that's
I'm a leftist.
I know that's
I'm a leftist. Good Lord.
You Mamdani supporting socialist Jew.
Oh Jesus.
But in any event, so the court I called it a flawless victory because basically they just took every argument that NAR and the corporate defendants provided, including things like its statute of limitations run out, it's more than 4 years, which is kind of a technical argument.
Right.
But I think the two essential core claims, right, was two things. One is that the defendants here, right, there was a rule and they followed it. Really nothing more beyond that, right?
Right.
And as far as the boycott's concerned, and I thought this was the important one of the important sort of rulings, and there's a positive and a negative to it, right? Was that these defendants, Homie did not allege that these defendants took an active role, right? Now let's remember who they sued. So, right, Homie sued NAR.
Right.
It sued Keller Williams, Remax, Anywhere, Home Services, the four companies that were in the Sitzer lawsuit. And initially, they had sued the local MLSs, so Wasatch Front, which is Utah Real Estate, as well as the local associations that own and govern Utah Real Estate. Right. Originally sued them. They dropped the MLSs and the associations, right, and made it back down to the 5 defendants in Sitzer. And what the court said is you didn't even allege that these 5 defendants boycotted you, right? And you're
saying by taking out the MLSs and the
right.
others, it kind of took the meat off the bone a bit.
A little bit, right? Because a lot of the quote receipts that Homie had in the complaint were things like, here are the board members at the local association. And the local association, these local realtor groups, started a hashtag boycott Homie campaign, right? Which, I mean, that's a pretty clear evidence of conspiracy, horizontal group boycott, right? That's pretty obvious. The issue is there's no suggestion that NAR had anything to do with boycott Homie. Remax, Keller Williams, Anywhere, Realogy, Home
they're
Services.
Franchisors in a sense, most of them anyway, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And probably not even the franchisors, probably an agent.
Right.
Who happened to be with a franchisor might have been involved with that, right? So it basically it's the defendants have nothing to do with this boycott, right? I think that was that essentially is the ruling. So yeah, I wrote about it. It was total victory. Don't know if there's going to be appeal or not, right? I don't know how Homie is doing financially, right? Lawsuits are not cheap, so maybe they just go away here, or maybe they continue.
They refile with maybe the right plaintiff.
No, I think this has to be an appeal.
Yeah.
They would have to file an appeal with the 10th Circuit. They do have a couple of grounds for an appeal, but I'm not sure, right? So effectively what I wrote in my post, I went through the legal things as well, right? For people who are super nerdy and want to get into it, right? But I think the essential problem here is if Homie just wanted the rules gone, right? Which we might get into because we'll talk about, Compass and Northwest MLS and things like that. If they just wanted the rules to be changed where they don't have to offer compensation in the MLS, well, now we have a mootness problem because NAR changed all that, right, with the settlement. Those rules no longer exist. Now Homie's not going to get punished because they're not offering compensation, in the MLS because no one is offering compensation in the MLS.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So it seems to me like what Homie was looking for was money damages. Right? They ran it like their business just plummeted. Sometime around like 2021, something like that. Right. I don't know the exact dates of the hashtag boycott Homie campaign. I don't know when that really started up. But effective the story is they're this discounter, right? They weren't offering compensation, so they were able to offer service for real cheap. Trulora did the same thing, and then Rex did the same thing. Bunch of consumers went there, right? They saw success.
Right.
And at one point, they were the 5th largest brokerage in Utah, I think, right? Maybe in Salt Lake area. And then this boycott campaign happens, and they crash and burn, right? Okay. Do I think some shenanigans happened and, people went out to, screw them over? Yes. Yeah. I think their essential problem is the people who did that were likely local agents and brokers. Right.
Oh, for sure they were, right? I mean, that's who had the leverage, right?
Right. And potentially with some I don't want to say cooperation, some involvement of the local associations and the local MLS. Right? I think they might have been able to show that. Okay. I think what's really hard to show is how NAR and these big 4 corporations were involved with that. Right. Like, unless there's some meeting minutes, from some NAR, board meeting somewhere.
Who wants to decide what the hashtag for Stop Homie is going to be?
Right.
That we'll do that at 7:15 of the meeting.
That's right. Or if there's some email from Gary Keller to some Keller Williams agent sitting on a board somewhere. Hey, make sure you guys do everything to screw Homie over.
Right.
And fact is, they're not going to find that.
Yeah.
Right? They're just not going to find that. So therefore,
yeah.
I don't love their chances. Now, the appeal doesn't mean they win. The appeal, like the PLS case, means that they get another bite at the apple.
Right.
Right. So it's reversed and remanded back to the trial court. Don't dismiss yet. And I do think, just my gut feeling right now, is if they do appeal and they win on appeal, the win's going to be, you're not allowed to dismiss it at this early stage. Right. And that's like a legal technicality. In other words, Homie never even got the opportunity to do discovery.
Right. Because
they
couldn't even articulate who the hell or why they were suing somebody, what they had
kind
to do
of,
with
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I could see the 10th Circuit, because of technical legal reasons, saying, hey, lower court, you got to give them a chance to at least, go a little further. See if they could uncover a conspiracy, right? You could dismiss it after that if they failed to do that, but doing it now is a little early.
Yeah.
My view is, okay, even if they did, is Homie really going to find the smoking gun?
Probably not.
I really doubt it.
All right. Well, let me ask you a question here. The question I have is okay, what's different that NAR, is it just the case itself, or, there's different people working on this case and used to work on the other cases? Is this the new NAR's legal team is better than the old one, or is this basically having to come down to this is just the case itself was just a bullshit case?
I don't know, right? I don't exactly know. That's why I thought when I read the first, the case initially, I'm like, this is a pretty strong case, right? And the law firm they're not morons, it's Harmeet Dillon's law firm, right? And they know how to do litigation. So it wasn't, and there's nothing in the brief, right, that I read that screamed incompetence. Right? This was well written, well drafted. I'm going to assume there was well argued at oral arguments. It's just that the judge just simply didn't buy any of the arguments.
Right.
None of it.
Okay.
Look, it could mean that the judge made a mistake. Lower court judges do get overturned, right? So I don't want to say it it's completely over. It's not. We thought the same thing about PLS, right? Because the PLS lawsuit, initially, it was total victory for NAR, right? All defendants. And then Ninth Circuit overturns it all, and now it's the opposite of total victory, So we'll see it, because that case is now ongoing as well. This one, there's a part of me that kind of feels like the 10th Circuit might overturn,
right?
Simply because of some of these like technical things. Like I said, I mean,
but even if they do overturn, you're saying there's not a lot of there, so it's not. It's not going to help.
I don't think so. Again, because I think Homie just basically went after the deep pockets, right? So in a way, this is like a case of you have a valid complaint, but these are not the people responsible.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's possible that they could have some kind of valid complaint against NAR, but if so, then they're going to have to deal with this whole statute of limitations problem, right? Because Homie waited until Sitzer happened. So what I wrote, and this is what I genuinely think happened, I think Homie's just losing market share, getting crushed by this local boycott, right? And it is true, like the agents and brokers in, Utah and Arizona, I mean, they behave like the mafia, man. It was
piranhas.
Bad. Right. I mean, they really, and they did some stuff that I know because I knew some people who worked at Homie, like just worked there and like had their family threatened, like some really bad
crazy
shit, really, really bad shit. So some real mafia type behavior. And I think Homie, as a result, just like lost market share, right? Because I'm a seller, like, okay, Homie, do you seem inexpensive? I like what you're selling. Here's my listing. Give it a shot. Can't sell it. Can't sell it because there's this group boycott, Okay, like that sucks. And I think they're just sort of like dealt with it, and didn't know what to do. And then Sitzer gets decided. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, I think we might be able to get some money back. And by that time, they likely
go for the $1 billion, right?
Yeah, by that time they likely lost, all their money, all their funding. It's the same story as Rex, right? Rex was doing great, and then commingling, Zillow joins the MLS.
I don't know if Rex is ever doing great, but yeah,
they were doing great. They're starting to get traction. Blah blah blah. They were about to raise. I think in their complaint they said they're valued at like $1.4 billion. Blah blah blah. So. Same thing with Rex. Rex is not doing this lawsuit to be like, hey, if you got rid of non-commingling, then we can be back in business and be fine. Right? They're like, you not only need to get rid of non-commingling, you need to pay us a lot of damages. I think Homie's kind of in that position. And the problem with that is that the people who harmed you are not these deep pocket defendants.
Yeah, you can go after Brenda and Leroy and,
right.
Francis, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And of course, the problem is those guys don't have the deep pockets, right? So that's I think like a realistic problem that Homie has.
God, like threatening family though. I mean, what's the lesson there? Is like don't piss off a realtor. Good Lord.
I mean, you could say that's a lesson. The other lesson is that maybe pursue RICO charges against some of those people, because that's like straight criminal behavior, man.
Yeah.
And. Look, is there bad behavior in every industry? Probably. I mean, I don't know. Like, you hear about, think about how like auto workers, whatever, or mining,
the Teamsters or something.
Teamsters, how they deal with like the strike breakers and scabs and whatever. So, I get it, but it's not something that we should be like clapping and applauding either, right? But that's kind of where the Homie thing is at. But you're right. Look, at this point, it's total victory for NAR and for the corporate defendants.
Cool. All right. So, I guess next up to me is, I think, this is, and Northwest MLS is always kind of on the forefront of things, right?
Sure. Yep.
Disclosing commissions.
Yep.
Right. Or buyer's fees or, those kind of buyer commission rates. And they're in a fight right now as far as with the settlement, right? They're not settling. Here's the latest that came out, and I read about this briefly as well, but basically on their new forms, they are going to require that you disclose any referral fees. Now, this to me is a direct punch. I don't know, this is geared obviously towards Zillow.
Of course.
And Northwest MLS has a very stiff reputation of not really playing well with the portals, right? They're not. I mean, it's always been in their DNA that they're not really big fans of that kind of stuff, right? So, I'm I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, based upon our last conversation about like what should be disclosed or what should not be disclosed, but I guess on one thing, it is a bit more transparent for the buyer to know that, oh wow, this part of this is going to Zillow. I'm sure it's in some sort of terms and service they clicked on in 2 seconds what it said to click. I agree. But I don't know if I have a problem with it or not. I don't know if this is going to really even mean anything either, but you got to believe that the Compasses of the world, the Homes.coms of the world, kind of like this. Right?
I'd imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I read it. I don't remember reading the actual policy. I hadn't thought that deeply about it, but I know that like the Consumer Federation people, like Wendy Gilch, them, they're really a big fan of this, because a point that Wendy likes to make a lot is the consumers have no idea, right? Like how many hands are in the agent's pocket, right? So when the consumer writes a check for whatever $30,000, they don't know that like the broker's taking a cut, Zillow's taking a cut, so and so's taking a cut. Like there's all these cuts, and the agent ends up with like $5,000. It's just so. I guess what I wonder about is, all right, what is this supposed to achieve? Like what was the harm that this was trying to address? It's the idea that consumers don't know that their representative owes this giant cut in referral fees, right? Okay. How would that change my behavior as a consumer? Right. And let's do it this way. Let's not even make it Zillow or anything, whatever. The relocation guys, right?
Okay.
The corporate reload networks.
Yeah.
They charge a very steep premium too.
Yeah.
I know their referral fees could be like 45%. Okay. So if I'm being relocated and my company says, hey, we have this reload service, whatever, right? We would like you to use this company, whatever. I call that company. They say, we're going to put you with this agent over here who's an expert in the Seattle market, right? If I learn that my agent owes 45% to the referral company, right, the reload company, how does that change things for me as a consumer?
Yeah. So let me see if I can come up with something, right? So another analogy, right?
Yeah.
And I can already hear your ass when I say this person's name's Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind
Pocahontas.
of fight, and that kind of like the Consumer the whole Consumer Protection Act or whatever it was, and a big thing of that was to be more transparent about credit card fees, right? And you could say that okay, a credit card on their statement could say, okay, it's 20%, and your minimum payment is this. A 20% APR and your minimum payment is this, and you have $5,000 balance on your credit card. That's one thing, right? Another thing is to say it's 20%. You have $5,000 your balance. Your minimum payment is this. And if you make minimum payments, it's going to take you 17 years to pay this off, right? Well, right. I mean, the information was there before if you did the fucking math. But by putting that in there, it's like, well, shit, that doesn't make any fucking sense. That might change my behavior because it's been presented to me, it's been exposed to me or presented to me in a different light. Mm-hmm. So maybe it doesn't change the behavior of, and again, you could argue this, maybe it doesn't change the behavior of a buyer on that transaction. And maybe it doesn't even, maybe they say, oh, fuck, that's, Zillow was so convenient. I'm glad that Zillow got a cut.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you could kind of see that, right? So,
right.
But it does, I think it does add something. I'm not sure if it adds it to that, but I think more information is probably better for a consumer in a sense.
Yeah, I suppose. But, so the example that comes to my mind, because this is something I've done personally, right? I go to this hotel, this nice little resort, check in, and they tell me And there was some issue with it. They're like, hey, you need to get back to hotels.com or Expedia or whatever site I used to book it.
I never used
And we get to chatting a little bit, and what they tell me is those guys charge 30% referrals. If you book directly through us, right, then we could keep more of that money.
Yeah.
In the future, please book directly through us.
Yeah.
And they were real nice. I was like, yeah, no problem. I like the resort. If I go back there, I'll look you up on the website and I'll go book directly, right? But it's not like the price was different. It isn't as if the hotel said, hey, if you book directly, it's $100 a night. If you book through hotels.com, it's $150 a night, right? Like it was the same price whether you did it one way or the other, and the hotel was just eating it. They were just taking that loss by paying the referral fee.
Well,
it didn't make me check out.
They may have been eating it. They may have I need to have this many heads and beds to
make
this enterprise a profit.
And obviously, right. And obviously, the hotel's not going to do that deal if they're not benefiting in some. Right.
Yes, right. This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Cotality. CoreLogic is now Cotality. Same trusted technology and data, just with a new name that reflects their mission to unify property professionals, strengthen industry relationships, and drive innovation globally. Cotality powers tools you already know and love, like Matrix, the gold standard for MLS systems. There's One Home for agents who want to give their clients a more personalized collaboration experience. MLS Touch keeps you connected to the MLS no matter where you are. Realist gives you the insights to stand out as the local expert and tools to fill your funnel with high-value leads. The new One Homeowner platform keeps you top of mind and delivers value long after the deal is done. Learn more at Cotality.com. Our thanks to Cotality for sponsoring Industry Relations.
So, but my point is but when I learned about that 30% or 35% referral, it's not like I said, oh, cancel my reservation. Or,
right.
You know what, that's terrible, let me pay you more. Do you know what I mean? Like, that didn't happen. Only thing that happened was I said, oh, next time I'll think about coming directly to your website, right?
Yeah.
With real estate, I mean, I guess, right? But hey, 7 years from now, when it's time for me to buy my next house, I'll make sure to come directly to you.
Well, okay. Let me. Here's another spin on this. Right? Yeah. I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, it's like I know the kind of politics or the kind of the vibe of Northwest MLS. They're not very pro portal because of the ownership structure over there. That's a few big brokerages there are. So to me, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it's just, this is Northwest. Northwest MLS is going to do what Northwest MLS is going to do. And this is a little bit of poke in the eye.
Right.
If I'm thinking about it, probably that's the top reason in my head. But there is another thing here besides that, is that, I mean, Compass and others have been making a big stink about, that Zillow and these referral fees and everything else.
Sure.
This does bolster their argument when they're making arguments with Compass, when Compass is making these acquisitions to Northwest MLS. Hey, well, this is that is happening. Well, no. We make sure in our MLS that they disclose that information. Next question.
Possible.
Right. I mean, so maybe it's a little bit of a future proofing, other kind of things down the road. I mean, come on, man, give me a little bit there.
No, of course. In other words, it's like a PR ploy.
Well, right? It's a PR ploy, but it might shore up an argument if they get sued again. It might shore up an argument later on, right?
But sued for what?
Well, if somehow another Compass or some other company comes and makes a claim against the MLS that you guys are benefiting, giving Zillow certain benefits, but not us, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
I mean, that kind of thing, which makes me think they're falling in the same pattern of like being the first to disclose what the buyer percentage was back in the day when they could do that.
Sure.
Was forward thinking of like, okay, well, no, we've always disclosed that, right? So it kind of like maybe some of the arguments that just beat them off the path a little bit, right?
Sure. And like I said, the Consumer Federation people were big on this. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe this is like a nice PR thing to be like, hey, we're requiring disclosure of these referrals.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is like, okay, but where's the consumer harm?
No, right? I mean it is a stretch there. I think. I mean, because obviously Compass and Homes are saying there's consumers being harmed by not knowing that they're paying these big referrals, right?
Sure.
But I mean But that's all bullshit too. They're all
Kind
funding
of
anyway, right?
But here's the issue, because this is not cost free. In other words, fine, Northwest MLS would like to have this PR victory. Okay, cool. Like, I get it, and they want like Consumer Federation release a press release. Hey, look what Northwest MLS did. This is the right way of doing things. All right, cool. But now your agents have to take, even if it's another 30 seconds or 2 minutes, to find that form and fill in what the referral rate is, right?
Yeah.
It's adding a little bit additional work to your members, right? Like, is it end of the world? No, it's filling out a form. I get it, right? I get it. But it is that little extra work. And then that might just go, okay, but what's the harm? What is this protecting? What is the good that you're advancing by making your members do this extra 2 minutes of work? And that answer is not clear to me. That's all, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with disclosing it. I think it'd be great to disclose all sorts of referrals. I think it'd be great. Like, fine,
Yeah.
But that's why I didn't really pay a lot of attention to it. I know people think it's a really big deal. I'm not sure that it is.
Okay, here's a question.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, I've written about this. You've been about this. I mean, Northwest MLS have had the reputation of, like, things seem to kind of start from there, and then other MLSs adopt this, right? Will other MLSs, because of what they've done, do you think this is one of those things that they're going to start to adopt also?
I think that's likely, because to your point, this is just an anti-Zillow play.
Well, it's an anti-Zillow play, but it's also like you're almost giving a concession to the Homes.com Compass crowd too, right? So there's a little 3 for or 2 for in there. Right?
So I think it's good politics, right? And I think maybe I'm wrong about this, and this is something maybe we'll talk about more next week after we look closer at the Zillow filing. I'm really starting to get the sense that there's starting to be a wedge between Zillow and the MLS. There was always hatred between Zillow and brokerages, right? But Zillow, I think, especially led by like Errol, who's really good at his job, I think had formed this really tight relationship with the MLS community. I'm starting to get a sense that there's a slight wedge developing there. And the Northwest MLS, this play is one of it, right? And talk about, like, Zillow's in their backyard, right?
Yeah. Well, it's always been kind of funny, right?
Redfin's in their backyard. So it does feel like maybe there's something like that. I could see more MLS saying, hey, we're going to require disclosure referrals, right? Because it's not so heavy-handed as we're going to eliminate, like, you're not allowed to do referrals. Like, they're not doing that. They're just saying you just got to disclose it. Like I said, what is the consumer harm that this prevented? What is the consumer benefit that this generates? I'm not clear on that. Maybe if you have like, hey, Wendy, I know you listen. Like, if you have a clear idea of what the consumer benefit of knowing what the referral rate is for real estate transactions, I mean, I'd love to know.
Well, I mean, overall, it's like, what am I being charged for? Right? I mean, that is something, right? I mean,
is it though? Okay, so you're let's say you go to sell your house, or you want to buy a house or something, and the agent's like, hey, Greg, we'd love to help you, but so 40% of my income's got to go to Zillow. Right? Would you be like,
right.
Well, I'm not paying Zillow, so screw that. Cut your commission by 40%?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I think I've read scripts before, and the script is in counter to, well, could you lower your commission?
Right.
Well, I know it seems like a lot, but let me tell you what actually goes into that.
Right.
Photographer. Did you know that I mean, sometimes agents will disclose that because they want them to know that, and a lot of times they're paying those kind of fees for that. So it's really not $12,000. I really end up only with $2,000 after all these things. So I think a lot of agents are already kind of disclosing that in a sense.
Right. So that's why I was like, okay, but requiring it now, right? Look, I'm a libertarian. I'm opposed to rules, okay, generally speaking. So you have to really justify rules to me. I'm just saying, what was the consumer benefit that this was to create, that you are mandating this, right? Because there is a burden. There's a compliance burden now on the part of agents. It's just not clear to me what that is. I'm not saying this is like some horrible move. I'm not criticizing the MLS. It's just, so that's my take on that. We'll see. Obviously the Zillow and the other referral guys will hate it.
Right.
But,
All right. As we're on the subject of portals, and I'm going to throw one in here. I just thought of.
Okay. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
didn't talk
yeah.
about pre-show. Realtor.com acquires Zenlist.
We do need to dig into that, man.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I think it's a good thing because in the sense of this kind of like the vendor community, right? There seems to be a blockage that's been happening. I mean, because of the market and for other reasons, right? I mean, what's supposed to happen is, you start a company, you get some funding or you're bootstrapped and you execute and you make some waves, you execute properly, and then, you're successful. And if you're successful enough, you get bought, right? I mean, that's the dream that, that's a dream that I've gone through and others have gone through. Sometimes it makes, sometimes they become little dreams and then the big dream happens, like, for Dan and I. But it's good to see there is some deal flow in that case for those guys. Now, I don't know I don't know the price of it, right? But I've interviewed Tom, the CEO there, Eileen, and Andrea over there as well are all smart people, right? So I think it's good to bring some young blood into the kind of that world also and see if they can do it. I'm really curious about, Realtor.com has always had some sort of like, whatchamacallit, syndication feeds or not IDX feeds, so that the data, so the MLS data to me is very interesting, right? And how they can use it, because Zenlist, like a lot of others, it's hard to scale and go to every MLS and do it because of the rules and set. So is there going to be something there for that? I mean, I'm happy for those guys and, congratulations.
So I pulled this up for people listening to an audio. I just asked Grok Zenlist, right?
Right.
And because it's like, what is Zenlist? What does Zenlist actually do? Right. And it's described as a technology platform designed to streamline the home buying process by facilitating collaboration between agents and their clients.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a vendor. You're deep in this space. What does Zenlist do?
Well, to me, if I was going to, right away qualify it, it's probably the best or one of the best mobile solutions for an MLS system. I mean, they're in the category of like Home Spotter, of MLS Touch, a mobile experience for the MLS where you can do. I think they even do listing input, which is crazy to me, right? So they're just a representative of that, right?
So if you're Realtor.com, why would you buy a home buying facilitation collaboration between agents and clients?
Right. So I think to me what makes sense to me is like if you're the MLS, let's say, is like the number one used app that an agent uses. I mean, maybe it's email, but go with me on that, right? So if you own the experience of the number one app they're on to do their business, I think that's a good thing, right? So if you have, maybe there's some tie-ins or something else there, maybe, that makes a little bit more sense on that you can leverage the Realtor.com, ecosystem on that. But I mean, for a portal or anybody, if they're doing business with agents, to be able to like be the number one way they interact with for their business, I think is a good thing.
Okay, why would Realtor.com be acquiring Zenlist?
Well, again, let's think about, I think we all probably off the top of our heads, and I'll just ask you this question. What agent solutions does Zillow provide agents?
No, sure, a lot. Yeah.
You can name two.
Not the lockbox, the showing time, right? The CRM follow-up boss,
okay,
right? And then listing enhancement, all the tools that they have for that. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Name 3 Realtor.com agent things
I
that they
can't.
do.
Yeah, I can't.
Bingo.
Right. So that's one rationale, right? I don't think that's it. So this is where we get into conspiracy theories.
Oh, jeez. All right, we still got one topic after this, all right? So
when I first heard about Zenlist, it had nothing to do with this like collaboration between agents and their clients thing, right? I don't even know what that is. Like, I'm in the midst of selling a house, okay? The collaboration between the agent and me has been DocuSign and phone calls, right? Well, not me, Sonny, because let's face it, man. When you live with a broker, you just let the other.
When
person
you have a
handle.
wife, let's just put it that way.
When you have you know what I mean? Like, she's the expert. Like, she's just handling. But the collaboration tool is called the phone. Okay, so I don't know what the need for some collaboration platform is. I've heard it all before. War rooms, this, that, and the other. Okay, cool. My experience is from the phone and then DocuSign. Okay.
Oh, yeah, the phone you mean by either texting or calling.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Like the old-fashioned way, like Gen Xers. Okay. So I don't recall hearing nothing about Zenlist, this mobile-friendly whatever. I don't remember hearing none of that. The first time I heard of Zenlist was when Cincinnati went out. Remember there's a Rapatoni outage, right? Cincinnati went dark.
Well, no, it was Cincinnati, but it's also San Francisco where they're headquartered. It was mostly San Francisco was Zenlist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a whole bunch of MLSs that just went dark because Rapatoni went down, right?
Yep.
That's the first time I really heard of Zenlist. That they partnered with Zillow to offer an MLS replacement.
They partnered with Zillow. I don't remember that, but okay.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the things. And agents were using Zenlist while waiting for the MLS system to get back up.
Right, yeah. But how is that partnering with Zillow?
I think from what I remember, they were partnered with Zillow somehow, right? Like they were
maybe it was to get listings up into Zillow.
To Zillow, whatever. Right.
Maybe I can because they do have, like I said, they had some listing input thing. Right. Yeah, okay.
And they had an ad edit, right? That apparently functioned well. And I've spoken to Zenlist. I still don't exactly know what they do, but here's what I do know: they're very good at data. Right? Zenlist is very, very good at consolidating, like cleaning. Like they're very good at data, and they have effectively at least one time, and I think there was another time when Zenlist was used when another system went down to like replace the MLS when the MLS went down. It's the emergency backup, right? Okay, if I'm Realtor.com, right, what makes me different than Zillow, Redfin, and Homes?
If I'm who?
If I'm Realtor.com.
What? Say the question again. Sorry.
How am I different than Zillow, Redfin, and Homes.com?
If you're Realtor.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're Realtor.com, so there's hopefully they're trying to leverage the fact that we're part of you. Our blood is we bleed blue. That kind of shit, right?
Yeah, that hasn't worked in 20 years, so
But that is one. That is one of the things, right?
There's one really key substantive difference between Realtor.com and those other three.
Yeah, well, they're not a broker.
Bingo. They're not a brokerage. They're not a participant in the MLS. They cannot get MLS data the way that Zillow, Redfin, and Homes do.
Right.
The MLS is all kinds of flux, right? All kinds of who the hell knows chaos going on. Zillow, North, like there's lawsuits happening all over the place.
Yeah.
I think if I'm Realtor, I needed to buy Zenlist to have a backup. If something happens to the MLS, right, I'm not a brokerage participant. I can't just go in and get IDX feeds or VOW feeds, right? I need an alternative conduit. I need an alternative source of data. And push comes to shove.
For agents to feed you.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And if push comes to shove.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Zenlist has an ad edit. And they have history and experience with operating a replacement MLS. From that standpoint, strategically, it makes so much sense for Realtor.com to buy them.
Okay. So
that's my conspiracy theory.
All right. But okay, let's just I'll unpack that a little bit. So number one is like, I think there's probably a list of, 10 strategic reasons why they bought it. I don't think it's such a conspiracy thing to make to say that that's number 9 on the list. Oh, they have experience doing this in the case this happens. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I buy that. I buy that. I mean, it's not, but I would say that's not too conspiracy-ish, right? I mean, I think it's just, but I think it's lower on the list of why they bought them. I don't think that was high on the list of why they bought them. That would be the difference I have between.
I think that's the number one reason why they bought them because, and here's my argument. Again, I await for Move's official denunciation. What I'm saying, I wait for them to say Rob is crazy.
Damien will kind of contact us. I'm sure
that is not at all why we bought them. We bought them for the reasons Greg mentioned. I'm just saying they hadn't bought anybody for the last 20 years, right? I mean, when did Zillow acquire all these showing time? Like 4 years ago, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then Realtor.com, like they didn't do squat. They didn't lift a finger, right? So if it's we need agent tools to go like that was.
Well, they bought OpCity, but that was a long time ago.
And OpCity's not really a tool; it's a lead gen site, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like Realtor.com gave a shit about agent tools for years. And then now,
it's funny because they go back and forth here. I mean, didn't Move have top producer at one point? They sold it off, and now they're all going. I mean, and then I think Zillow did the same thing. They let go. They bought Trulia, but then they let Market Leader go. But they bought Dotloop, and they bought. Right. I mean, it's like one cycle of fuck agent tools, and the next cycle we need agent tools, right? It just seems like be a flip flop here. Okay,
maybe, but I just look at it as like the timing of it for me, and it's because I'm in the MLS space, right? It's because I do industry relations podcasts, right? So my sensitivity to MLS and data related things is way higher than the average person, and I look at this, I'm like, and again, why Zenlist? Why not some other CRM company? Why not some other transaction management company or whatever? Why Zenlist? I'm like, well, the one thing that Zenlist has that none of those other guys have is that they were a replacement MLS.
Yeah, ad wise, yeah,
right?
For sure. Yeah.
And functionally, like it operated. The agents and brokers in Cincinnati, whatever, nationwide who were using it, it worked great for them, right? That seems like a real strategic need if I'm Realtor.com. Okay. And I'm not a broker.
Right. I mean, I will tell you that is an entirely fresh take I haven't even thought of, but
I thought you absolutely thought of it. I mean, your clients are MLSs.
Well, I mean, again, I saw the other. I was more focused on that. When you say it, I think that's probably a good. You're right there, but I don't think it's like the thing. Like you said, it's the number one thing. I don't think it's the number one thing.
Right. And again, I await for the denunciation from Realtor.com.
All right. So let's. The last thing we want to talk about is CoStar again in the news again with Homes.com.
Yeah.
And I heard some. I have a little bit probably extra information, but in a minute we'll put this in the show notes. Apparently, what Homes.com was doing is they put together this unbelievable. There's a video, and we'll put the link to the video in the show notes of a marketing brochure that was like personalized to the home seller, right? So, from what my understanding is that if you're a Homes.com agent and you're a member of that, and you pay a certain amount to do that every year, every month, you get a certain amount of marketing dollars to help boost that listing on Homes.com, right? So as part of being that thing, what Homes.com was doing is they would send those agents or those sellers that were working with agents that had the Boost program, that were a member, this unbelievable brochure that says, hey, your home is going to be featured here, Boost is whatever, all this kind of things. And then they would even have a page with personalized photo of the listing agent on the page. And then they would have another page that was like really denouncing Zillow, calling it Nillow. And there was like it's this bait and switch kind of narrative they were putting in there. Right. So it kind of served two purposes. But also what happened, and what I heard through the grapevine, was they initially started just sending this to sellers that were working with agents that were part of the Boost program, their membership program. I think their marketing department got a little bit out of hand and says, well, hell, we're getting good feedback for that. Let's send it to all the sellers out there right now, or they were testing it. And one of the sellers was an agent who was selling her own home. So she ended up getting this brochure herself. And there's a video, you can watch the video in the show notes. And the video, it's like, she's like, well, this kind of makes it look like that And in the brochure, it has a way for the seller to pay to boost their own home online. Very similar to do out in the other, like in Australia and other countries, right? But she thought it was odd and disgusting is the word she used at the end, because it almost appeared as if Homes.com was going around the agent to tell the seller, your agent doesn't know how to market your home. You need to market your home.
Right.
Here's a QR code. Pay $700 or $900 or $200, whatever it is, to do that. Now, apparently, and we'll put this also in the show note, there are some agents that liked it, right? And there's a video of a guy, and I think the way the funny thing in that video is that the agent really, first of all, the first half of it talks about how he loved how the brochure basically dissed Zillow, right? But then it goes in to show that whatever. I'm looking at these pieces, and she said that the pieces were heavy card or heavy paper.
Yeah.
Rob, I would tell you they're spending $15 to $20 per on this.
Right.
And it's ludicrous. I mean, but we've seen they've bought down 2 blocks in San Diego for a party. And
right.
Spending $1 billion in ads. This is just another example of that. But and then there's also some rumblings of like the images that they used in the brochure. Is that compliant? IDX compliant? Can you use images in that manner? Right? I mean, who knows whatever MLS is. So it's caused a bit of a stink out there, and we'll see what happens next year. But there was an article on Inman. We'll put a link to the show notes. What do you think?
I think there's a video out there of you receiving an award from a gentleman who I believe is the general manager of Homes.com. I believe. Right?
Me receiving an award from the general manager of Homes.com? I don't think so.
Or like, I don't know. It's like I think you might have been it might have been at like a CMLS event or something, the weekly update. But my point is that the people over there. The leadership over there. Okay. They should probably hire you, maybe hire me, something to advise them, because I don't get it. I think is the way I would put Homes.com, right? Like that, what you just described, it's very ham-fisted. And I don't know if it's because they're not listening to the real estate people. So they're doing this like they've had success in commercial estate and other areas. But this is not how you do marketing in our industry. Right? Not only that, but like their messaging overall. Right? I think you're going to mention it was put on LinkedIn. I know it went out as an email from Andy Florence, to a whole bunch of people.
He's got another tirade out now. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about like Zillow is stealing your clients or something, like diverting your clients. And the entire thing, like every time I hear it, I think about that song from Shawn Mendes, right? Treat You Better.
Right. Treat you right. Yeah.
No, it's like,
treat you better.
Yeah. I know I can treat you better.
Yeah.
I know I could treat you better than he can. Whatever. And I'm like, it's such a fucking beta cuck move, man. Like that is not how you get to a girl. And I don't think this is how you get to the real estate industry. I just don't. Like the people who hate Zillow already hate Zillow. You don't need to convince them, right? People don't hate Zillow. It's not like you're going, he's not treating you right, girl. Like that's not how you get that. That's just my opinion, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on over there, especially with everything that's happening with Zillow right now in the industry. The fact that they're like doing this, it just makes no sense to me. I think you're absolutely right on a lot of that. And the second thing is, but the thing that's missing here a little bit, or this isn't missing, is there's a brochure that was sent to home sellers that says pay to boost your house on this portal. Sure.
That's a brand new thing.
Sure.
Right? It didn't say go through your agent to do this.
Sure.
It didn't say whatever. It says you have to pay to put that on there. And that's such a cultural shift in, I think, sellers' mind. And I get you've got to start somehow, but we've had this argument before. Like, is their model going to? They can't sell leads, right? You're listing your lead, so this is the way they're going to monetize.
Of course.
This is as I've seen, their first melee into that world of getting sellers to pay to boot. I would wonder if they, from what I heard, they stopped sending it directly to sellers, right? So they weren't part of the boost program with their agent, but still, that's that.
But when you hear that, what I think about is, okay, I don't know who made that decision, right? It feels like VP of marketing.
They didn't listen
somewhere.
to the real estate people there for sure.
It almost feels like the VP of marketing, the marketing team, they get together. Hey, we need to do something, right? Like, we have this giant budget we have to spend. Like, what can we do to make a splash? What can we do to make an impact? Hey, what about these beautiful mailers? And then because we're homes, right? We're gonna do first class everything,
personalized to every single recipient.
All that, right? Oh, it'll be impressive. Like, and I could see the marketing people, who came from whatever, Colgate or some other marketing place, like that's wonderful. What a great idea. Let's do it. And they never went to the real estate people and said, hey, here's our plan. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Right? Well, I mean, I think we know who's the real estate people over there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if they went to those guys and said, this is what we're thinking of doing, sending these brochures directly to sellers that are not part of, they're not with agents part of our program, they would have said, stop everything you're
over
doing
my dead
right
body.
now.
Right.
So either number one, they didn't consult, which is what I probably got to believe happened.
That's what I believe as
right?
well.
Because, or they did consult and they said, we're going to do it anyway, right?
It's possible.
It's possible. I doubt that, though.
Right.
But,
it's possible. Yeah. But like I said, I mean, look, I mean, you're a consultant. I used to be a consultant. I don't think I've ever seen a company more in need of consulting than Homes. Right.
Well, but
consultants who would actually tell them the truth as opposed to blow smoke up their ass.
So it's interesting you say that, and we've only got a few minutes here.
Yeah.
But when they came out with their Super Bowl ad, right, and then the ads I've been seeing lately, like, we're the best real estate site. I mean, that is so, like, that is, it just sounds like it came from a higher up guy. We'll have a clever campaign to say we're the best real estate site. It was just so deaf-eared. If they really wanted to get their message about, how they're different from the others, right? They should go to this Zillow narrative, and I'll tell you. And I wrote it when the Super Bowl went out. I wrote a script on Vendor Alley of what the commercial I would be,
right?
What I would show. And what the commercial is, there's a group of families, and they go next. Somebody out, voice of God says next, and this family huddles up to the stage, right? And it's a man and a woman, and they've got two little kids and a little dog, and they go, okay, family of five needs a whatever. What's the first bid? I'll go 600. I'll go 700. I'll go 800. I'll go, with realtors in the audience, and then ding, sold. To whatever. Now get off the stage. Next.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And show it a very carnal, not carnal, but very really raw thing of like, and then that's, and it's, maybe they call, or maybe the thing go, I think it says zing, right? To get that Z in there, right? And then the next one and the next one, and then fade away to not at homes.com. We don't sell you to the highest bidder. We bring you to the agent, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's a better narrative than we're the best real estate site ever. I'll put a link to the show notes, but I think you're right. I think they need some sort of guidance there.
You know the guy who's heading up real estate there. He should be hiring you immediately. Is my take. And he could maybe give me a call too, because I don't get this. This Shawn Mendes messaging is so weak. It's so bad. And I'm like, God damn it! You guys are fucking co-star. I mean, you have all the money in the world. There are better ways to spend your money than $20 flyer, mailers to consumers, which will piss off your customer base. Like, it's just, so that's, I don't know. Like, they really need to rediscover something. Because on the current path, they're just going to get utterly crushed.
And all the money they've spent, and lots.
Right. At the same time, they are still co-star. As a general rule, I think, there are certain general principles that I hold until proven otherwise. One of those general principles is don't fuck with Andy Florence. Like, the man's, he has a track record for a reason, right? Do not mess with the man if you can avoid it. Right? Yeah. But, Homes is the giant mystery. It's a giant mystery.
All right.
So,
That was good.
Yep, we'll end there. Zach, instead of just covering one topic and arguing like crazy, we covered 4 different real estate topics.
Bonus episode
That's
for
right.
you people.
That's right. So the next episode, we're going to talk about movies. No, we're not. We're going to talk about something else.
Dun, 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 dun.
In any event, hey, thanks everyone for listening to us yammer. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. If you have any thoughts, just put them below. And if there's topics that you want to hear us get into, let us know. All right. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Bye.